This Netflix original film begins in New York City with an overview of the streets. We first see our main character, named Rob Anderson, in a classroom presenting 2 book options to his students. We figure out that his father is out of the picture and that he really relates to the Lord of the Flies book. While bonding with his students, this teacher makes the class fun and entertaining. He explains the basis of the book and lets the students know the assignment. Principal Millen gets in class as soon as the students are dismissed, letting Rob know that Ms. James is in rehab and that he has a full-time position for him. He says that he can't commit for anything longer than 2 days because he is going to get married. We see Rob running in the airport. When he gets to the gate, there's a conversation between him and the gate agent, where he explains that he missed the plane. When Mr. Anderson tries to find a solution, the agent tells him that the only option is to book a flight for tomorrow. Rob is very concerned because he gets married the next day, so he really needs to get there as soon as possible. Unfortunately, there's not any available seat in the last flight of the day, so Rob grabs the speaker and says that he will do anything for somebody who has a plane ticket for the next flight to Charleston. A woman across the room asks how far he would go for the ticket, and he says he'll do whatever she'd like, and offers her a first-generation iPhone. He gets close to her. She says that she's not satisfied with the offer, so he adds that he is an amazing lover. The 2 of them get even closer and share a passionate kiss. Everyone in the gate smiles and they look quite happy with what they're seeing. Megan, the bride, tells Rob that she got his messages and that she bought 2 tickets to Charleston for them both. Rob says that he got something for her, revealing that he bought a candy that she once described as a rainbow exploding in her mouth. Megan had a very hard day and Rob asks what happened. She says that she had to tell a 6-year-old that she had a tumor in her stomach and she would have to do treatment. Rob says that she is going to pull through as she has the best doctor in New York City. She asks how school went for her fiancé, to which he replies that he did not save anybody's life, but that the principal offered a new full schedule for him to teach. There's this exchange of rhetorical questions about why they took so long to get married. Rob reveals to be a Justin Bieber fan, saying that his 2 favorite songs are Never Say Never and Sorry. He knows he took a long time, but he still proposed and is apologetic for how long it took. They arrive in Charleston, South Carolina. They get into the church that they will get married in the next day and comment how pretty it looks, just like they imagined it. Everything is set for the wedding and then they get to see Rob's mother and Benjamin. Then Megan's dad appears, giving her the biggest hug. As soon as Rob tries to interact with his father-in-law, the man's mood changes, and he reprehends Rob for being late. Megan announces the job offer that Rob got, and his mother is proud because he is becoming an important member of the society. His bride keeps telling everyone how good of a teacher her fiancé is, and he says that he doesn't want to focus on the kids, but on the wedding. Her father once again tries to point out that he's bothered by Rob's lack of attention with the font on the invites. Again, we see interactions between Rob and his father-in-law, Reginald, with criticism and judgment. As he steps away to answer a call, the priest arrives and the wedding rehearsal begins. In the next scene, we see them arriving at the hotel. Rob asks Benjamin if he noticed the way Reginald, Megan's father, was being hard on him. Benjamin, who we come to find out that is the best man of the groom, did realize this and warns Rob that he really needs to be extra responsible from now on. Catching on that, Ben asks where the ring was and Rob didn't know right away where he had put it. His best man goes through some key points of the wedding that Anderson missed out on or didn't do as expected. He did not learn the first dance, he didn't prepare his vows, and Ben asks him not to throw everything away. Their conversation gets interrupted as Benjamin notices a woman named Vicky is leaving the hotel and asks Rob how he looks. As soon as she approaches them, there's a conversation about how she would never be with Ben. We now realize that she is actually Rob's ex and their relationship did not go very well. Cody, Megan's ex-boyfriend, arrives in his orange Lamborghini and makes these 3 acquaintances wonder why he was there. We get a close-up view of Cody leaving his car with a fancy suit and an expensive watch, giving us the idea of his wealth. Rob aggressively asks Cody what's the motive of his presence there the night before their wedding. Megan arrives with a bunch of friends about to leave for her bachelorette party and gets shocked when she sees Cody with the group. He reveals that Megan's father invited him as his +1 to the wedding. Vicky tells every bachelorette to get on the bus so they could finally leave with Megan to her party. Before they leave, on a conversation between Rob and Megan, he wonders what will happen if he gains 20 pounds or becomes less attractive and how she would see him. She replies that she can take all of that and is willing to, but he has to put the work in to make her smile every time forever, as they kiss goodbye. Benjamin and Rob share a small talk about how Megan deserves a great wedding. On that note, they remark that Rob does have a lot to work on, as he hadn't done the work prior, such as the vows and the dancing. But instead of staying in and focusing on those details, he decides to get out for just 1 drink, saying that it wouldn't hurt. In the next scene, we see Rob laying on the floor, confused and naked, inside an elevator, having no clue where he is or what is happening. The elevator's door opens and Rob faces a group of people outside. He obviously feels embarrassed and tries to leave quickly. He goes to the front desk, still naked, and asks for a room key. The receptionist can't focus because he keeps on looking at Rob. As he is informed that there's no reservation under his name, Rob begs to make a call with the hotel's phone. Everyone is ready at the wedding venue and the ceremony has just begun as he asks Benjamin to help him out. Naked, without a way to get into his hotel room and the ceremony happening, Rob has no idea what to do. The guests are getting bored and tired of waiting. Half of them have already left. The groom demands to have access to his room, but the front desk worker can't allow him to without any reservation or confirmation. He asks security to escort Rob out of the premises. Rob runs upstairs and tries to get into any room and then realizes he is at the wrong hotel. He quickly leaves the hotel, locking the security inside. There's an event happening outside and while still naked, Rob tries to outrun the police who are now after him. The police catch him and take him to the station and confirm his story but let him know that he's being charged for being naked on the street. At this point, the cops inform him that someone purposely closed the elevator, with him still inside it. There's a questioning and they're trying to figure out why someone would want to do this. In the next scene, we see Megan and her father discussing whether or not they should call off the wedding. Megan is worried that something happened to Rob as she knows for sure that he would not just leave her hanging. As her father is having a monologue about how she deserves better, Cody walks in, reinforcing this idea and agreeing with him. Despite all the accusations, Megan defends his groom. She finally gets a call from Rob, explaining himself and informing her of what happened and that he got arrested. They start having connection issues and then, from his perspective, the floor starts to shake and he gets thrown against the wall, waking up naked, in the elevator's hotel all over again. He starts reliving everything in a loop and doing different things with the purpose of understanding what's going on. On this second try to get to his wedding, he gets distracted with a famous singer that he finds along the way. Whilst he is speaking with this celebrity, a piece of feminine underwear gets thrown at his face, and we watch him go through the loop again, this time with those panties. Since he now has something on, he is not arrested by the police and manages to get safely to the correct hotel where he requests the key to his room. Nobody else has the knowledge that this loop is happening apart from him, and so he has to figure this out by himself. His purpose at the moment is figuring out who is trying to sabotage his wedding. He finally gets in his room, but sadly the loop restarts. He starts getting anxious and scared and this time calls his mother, and while he goes through what's happening, he realizes that every time the bells ring, he goes back to the beginning. After this, he requests to talk to the priest. They have a conversation where Rob asks for the possibility of not ringing the bells for a while, just so he can get to the wedding in time. Waking up again, in the elevator, Rob tries to once again do things differently. He starts by sneaking into a store to grab a pink robe. Trying to find a way to get to the hotel, he gets messed with by a group of bikers from which Rob was trying to steal from. While they're trying to hurt him, the leader asks Rob to perform his first dance, which he mentioned he had not actually learned. Rob starts improvising a dance routine with one of them. After this, they let him borrow a bike, which he does not know how to drive. He has an accident and gets taken to the hospital. On his way to the hospital, Rob sees the church that he's supposed to get married in, and jumps out of the moving vehicle. Going into the church, he bumps into Cody and we're shown that Rob's arm is completely disfigured. Being heavily on because of the painkillers the paramedic gave him, he is acting totally weird and accuses Cody of being the one trying to ruin his wedding. As Cody tries to bring Rob into the wedding in order to ruin it because of his current looks and state, the church bells ring and he's back on the elevator. Understanding that the major problem is the clothes, he steals somebody's luggage, gets dressed, asks a guy outside the hotel door to call an ambulance, and purposely runs into a post, so he gets taken by them to the church. We see him jump off the ambulance again, now fully clothed. He walks through the altar and gets applauded by everyone in the room. As the bride walks down the aisle, Rob tries to dress the coat, which is not his size, and gets stuck in a weird position. The bells ring once again, and we watch a compilation of Rob's attempts of attending the wedding with different styles of dressing. In every trial, he has to face Megan's father throwing him out of the church because of the clothes he's wearing. In one of the attempts, Rob questions her father on what he has to do in order to be accepted by him. The father begins a long monologue on how Megan is his only daughter, and he wants only the best for her, which he does not believe is Rob. He mentions that it's not about who Rob is as a person, but that he has no goals in life or ambitions, and that being a husband is the hardest job there is. After this, Rob confronts Reginald about him being the one who kidnapped him, and asks him for an alibi. He proves Rob wrong, since he was the one who paid for the wedding that did not even happen. Rob then realizes that all he needs is a proper formal suit to get married, and decides to steal Cody's, which does not go well. Going back to the beginning, in the elevator, Rob tries innumerable times to fight Cody for his suit, getting sent back every time. Having figured out Cody's technique, Rob finally conquers the suit and attends the wedding once again. This time, the problem is that something is always missing, and so he goes back and forth and tries to fix all the issues, one at a time. Robert finally gets to be part of the ceremony. The priest requests for the bride and groom to exchange vows, and while she gives a heartfelt, passionate, and profound speech, he doesn't know what to say or how to say it. For his next trials, he studies and prepares his vows to be said at the altar to his beautiful bride. Being able to share his vows, he starts the speech in the sweetest way but ends up overdoing it and leaves everyone perplexed with how unrealistic and weird it became. An intense mood is set, and Rob questions Ben about what really happened the night before. Benjamin reveals that Rob left with the girl, leaving him and everyone else shocked. Megan tries to leave the church, completely upset. She slaps him, and suddenly, the church catches on fire. Rob takes this opportunity to go and mess with the bell out of frustration. The bell's rope snatches and he falls, waking up again in the elevator. Rob, in despair, cries as soon as he realizes he has to do it all over again. This time, he decides not to do what he has been doing, and goes straight to talk to Megan. He opens up about not feeling enough and believing that everybody around her is right and that he's not good for her, and therefore she deserves better than that. Megan reprehends him by saying how much she believed and defended him to everyone who once doubted his intentions. Megan kicks him out, and he wakes up back in the loop. In various versions of the same hour repeating over and over again, Rob learns about marriage and compromises from the people that he encountered during these infinite tries. From the celebrity singer to the cops that first arrested him and his own mother, and he learns the value of always fighting for what you wish for. The next attempt, Rob is taken to his hotel room just like before, but this time he finds out that the girl that he had taken there the night before was simply there to help him write his vows. She confirms that she did come with him from a bar to the room. She thought it meant something else, but he really just wanted help writing his important message to his wife. Whilst leaving, this girl comments that it was the easiest money ever. Rob finds out she's a and that she was hired to persuade him to sleep with her. She also mentions that the people who hired her were extremely pissed off when they found out that he stayed faithful to Megan. Rob wakes up again and gets taken by the security team to their office, who show him the footage from the night before, revealing the person behind the whole setup, Vicky. He calls Megan and tells her how much he's sorry for not giving her what she deserved and that he'd never give up on her. With the help of the people that he met during this adventure, Rob makes a last effort to get to the wedding in time. The bikers, the police, and the prostitute get together and manage to help the groom finally succeed on having their big day. All dressed and ready for the ceremony, Rob walks into the church with hopes that this is his last attempt once and for all. After Megan's dad interrupts the moment that the couple was sharing, he decides to mention that his daughter deserved a guy like Cody and how much he wished the wedding was cancelled. Rob backfires at him by saying how much Cody is trying to screw him over and take over Reginald's company. Cody stands up and finally reveals himself by confirming what was said and that he did it because of how badly he was treated by his former father-in-law. Megan's ex-boyfriend storms off the church, very angry at the situation, and her father apologizes for the inconvenience and for having to follow him out. Rob tries to get hold of the situation and also leaves in hopes of getting everyone on the same page so that the wedding could finally happen on his own terms, and as his bride always wished for. With Cody gone, Rob stops his future wife's father to take care of anything work-related and focus for once on what his daughter actually wants, and on her big day. He gets offended by Reginald's words and begins a monologue with a quote that his future father-in-law once said to him, that marriage is a full-time job, that it requires full hours and overtime, no summers off. He also mentions how much he had learned about how a marriage is supposed to work. The groom says how important and significant a marriage can be in someone's life and how much it's important to dedicate everything we have for that one person, who is able to understand and support every flaw and every quality. Robert tells Reginald that he will never stop loving Megan with every cell in his body for as long as he's alive. The groom finally convinces the man to get back inside, and with a heartfelt scene, Reginald thanks Rob for everything that he had done and said. The ceremony follows along and they get to the vows, when Rob requests to be the first and delivers a pure, sweet, and emotional speech on how much he needs her standing by his side. He makes her a promise that if marriage is the same as playing the lottery, then he would play it to win it. They exchange the I do's, and with the help of her father, Rob surprises his lover with her mother's ring. When the priest asks if anyone is against the marriage, Vicky reveals to the crowd that Rob slept with, which he denies and explains the truth. Vicky says that she has proof and pictures of them both leaving the bar together, and that nobody could corroborate his version. We get surprised by acknowledging that Callie, the is actually present and confirms Rob's version of the story with a voicemail message from Vicky to Callie, asking her to try to sleep with him. The cops stand up to escort Vicky out, but she leaves on her own. Suddenly, the bells start ringing, and Rob notices that he's running out of time, and asks the priest to hurry up and skip to the end of the ceremony. The priest finally pronounces them husband and wife, they kiss, and Rob breaks the loop. Everybody goes to the reception. We watch the newlywed couple greet the guests. They stop and have a personal conversation where the wife asks Rob if had already checked the numbers on his lottery ticket, to which replies that he hadn't, so they verify it together without any luck. Robert says that he might not have chosen the right numbers, but he for sure chose the right girl. He also announces that he decided to become the new long-term literature professor in Larkin's prep. She is excited and she congratulates him. The time has come when the now Mr. and Mrs. Anderson first dance hit the dance floor. They dance away as the crowd cheered and they kiss once more. Rob invites everybody over to the dance floor to enjoy the rest of the night. We're shown an individual shot of each character to show their emotions after the main plot of the movie has been fulfilled. The celebrity singer is alongside Robert's mother, who is also singing. We watch the displays of affection between the various relations and friendships. The crowd applauds. We see the couple getting back inside, kissing nearby an elevator which opens. The sound that it makes reminds Rob of this infinite day and the many times he had to go through it. The wife suggests they go in, but he refuses and asks her to take the stairs instead. They race upstairs, and the movie ends with a blackout.